And now we are starting our first panel, in which we will talk about innovations and customer experience in transactional business banking. And I invite the first speakers here to the stage, Izabela and Eva from ING Bank Slaski in Poland, to present their process which they launched for the companies, for business customers, of digital account opening. So you're welcome. Click here.
Good morning, everyone. Is this working? Yes. Okay. Good morning. My name is Eva. This is Iza. We're from ING Bank Slaski, which is one of the largest banks in Poland. Now, we provide services. Let me check.
Next presentation.
Hello? Okay, this is us. So once again, ING Bank Slaski, one of the largest banks in Poland, also for retail and business clients. As the corporate clients business line, we provide services in 15 corporate regions. As you can see, 15 mid-corp branches and 36 SME branches. And as at the end of September this year, we had more than 53,000 clients with full accounting processes. Now, until not long ago, the traditional banking model service was, let's say, adaptable. Yes, the corporate clients wanted services which were provided by the relationship managers with individual meetings. Now, in the era of digitalization, we decided to apply the direct, whenever possible, advice when needed approach. Now, following this approach, we provided ING Business. This is our online communication platform for businesses who can do business banking whenever they are and whenever they want. This platform is available whenever, at what time, also available on smartwatches. So if you have one, please do use it. Now, we decided also to apply our online banking services to clients who, well, to companies who still aren't our clients and can use online services to open an account at our bank. Now, the process is very simple because we decided to treat companies like individuals, saving their time and letting them focus it on doing business. Now, opening an account for a company is quite difficult, let's say, because you need tax ID, representation, and so on documents, and all of these are required in paper by banks. Now, that's not the case at our bank anymore, and we'll show you how easy and online this process is in a few steps, and it will take a few minutes with the account activated within 1 hour. Isa, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we will show you the account opening process for businesses using the example of a company named Med Innovation and its representative, Oscar Swan. First, what we need to do, we need to go to our bank website and click the button Open an Account. And this is the first page of our application. You can see here a short description about the offer, the addressee, and what you have to have at hand in order to go smoothly through the process. As a representative of a company, all you need right now is a valid ID card and very basic information about the company that every representative should know by heart. So at the beginning, we need to type in only very few information about the representative, name, phone number, email address. We also require personal ID number of the representative because at the next stage we will verify whether this person's personal ID number is linked with tax ID number of the company and whether the person is an authorized representative of the company. We will verify also if Oscar is a retail client, so we can use some of his data on the later stage. Step 2. Now it's time for company's registration data. All you have to do in this step is to type in your tax ID number. And that's it. as all the detailed information about the company registered in Poland is stored already in online register, there is no need for paper anymore, and we do not require clients to put all those information to our form. But at this step, it's very crucial to check the data, verify the data, and confirm that it's valid and up to date. After that, we need to take a few boxes about FATCA, CRS, tax residency, and so on. And we can move on. Now, step 3. At this step, we would ask you to give us some more detailed information about the representative, such as card ID number, issuance date, expiry date, mother's maiden name. To avoid fraud, we will check in an external ID database whether the ID card really exists and whether it has not been cancelled, lost, or stolen. As you can see, some of the data has already been copied from the previous stages of the application, and all you have to do right now to check login data and fill in address. And that's it. Let's go next. And at this step, you're welcome to order also debit card if you want. And it's time to take a final glance at the data. It's very important to check it because these details will be used as a login data to ING Business, our internet banking system for businesses, where the agreement will be awaiting for you to sign it electronically. If everything is okay, we accept and submit the application. Okay, and what's now? Now the client will receive text message with login to ING Business and email with the first password to login. He will also receive another email with further instructions. So what we have to do right now is to go to ING Business Online, ING Business login website. We should enter the login we received by text message and put the first password and just log in to the application. After logging for the first time, all you can do in the application is just to sign the agreement electronically. And this is it. This is the agreement of a business account with the account number inside. All you have to do right now is to take some few boxes that you accept the document, that you accept the terms and conditions, and just click the button and sign it electronically. And basically that's it from the client point of view. Now the agreement is being processed by our back office, and the client will receive another email with information that his business account is ready to use and it's fully operable and accessible. In the meanwhile, our back office will verify the agreement and the information stored in our system. And it will activate and sign the agreement on behalf of the bank. And it should take up to 1 hour, no more. As you can see, we respect our client's time and our own time too. The view to the client is one of simplicity, speed, and ease, and that's very important for us. But there have been some pretty complicated database operation going on in the background, including know your customer processes and anti-money laundering procedures. And it's really very important for us that we teach our clients doing business online just from the very beginning of the relationship, which is totally in line with our digital strategy. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Izabela. Thank you, Eva. We will have time for questions in the end of the panel. Okay, so please keep notes on yours. And now, I invite, and the clicker, where is the clicker? Yes, and I invite the next speaker to show the next example of digital account opening, which was launched for e-residents in Estonia, and it was launched by a digital bank for entrepreneurs, makers and doers, as they say. This is Holvi, Finnish-based bank, and I invite Elina Räsänen, Head of Marketing and Communication, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Is it working?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Elina Räsänen. I'm Head of Marketing at Holvi. As Elena briefly mentioned, today I'm going to focus on a partnership that we recently established in June with Estonia's e-residency, and a little bit tell about the background on this and how do we actually open an account to these global entrepreneurs fully digitally. Before I start, I'd like to ask, first of all, are there any e-residents in the room? No. Are there people who are familiar with the e-residency program? Some. Okay, so we have some knowledge about the e-residencies. I'll use a little bit of more time to actually explain this background as well. So, a little bit about e-residency first of all. This is a bold vision by Estonia. What they are doing is that they are providing, as the first country in the world to offer e-residency and a government-issued digital ID to anyone in the world. So basically, anyone from across the world can apply to become an e-Estonian. Soon I will talk a little bit about the benefits of why you should consider of becoming an e-resident and why people are actually doing it and what is this movement behind it. But first, I'd like to also emphasize that today I'm focusing on the business part as I work for Holvi, which is a business banking solution. Benefits clearly are that after becoming an e-resident, you can also establish easily an EU company without ever even going to EU or Estonia. Other benefits what we have is that when you become an e-resident, first of all, you can digitally sign documents and contracts. You can verify the authenticity of these signed documents. You can establish an Estonian company. You can administer this company from anywhere in the world. You can conduct e-banking and do money transfers, and you get access to online payment service providers. These are just a couple of the benefits that I want to highlight from the business perspective. In practice, it means that when you are an e-resident, you can operate, for example, if you are a digital nomad, let's say that you are a freelancer in Colombia and your clients, you want to sell in Europe. You need an easy way to actually sign documents with your European vendors. You need a bank account that you can operate in euros, and you need a certain type of reputational part to actually run your business. By becoming an e-resident, you never have to go to Estonia or EU to actually have an EU residency. And secondly, you can open a bank account in EU, never even having to step your foot on EU. This is revolutionary in the sense that this is, from our side, the first ever possibility to actually give equal access to people across the world for banking and then also for running a business. Basically, it means that it's as easy for a Swedish designer as for a Colombian designer to actually run their business in EU and run a global business without any borders in it. This is the idea behind it. A couple of words about Holvi before I start. First of all, I don't know if you are familiar with our company, but I will give a bit of a background. So we were founded in 2011 in Helsinki, where we are actually still based on. We are built by entrepreneurs. Our founders, our core team has a long history in entrepreneurship. So we basically are building a product to solve our own problems, and that's why I think we are doing it very well. From the regulative point of view, I'm always aware that banking conferences love regulation and licenses. We are an authorized payment institution, so we do not have a banking license. Since 2016, we have been part of BBVA, Spain's one of the biggest banks, but we do not operate at the back end or license of BBVA. We operate completely separately, independently. Our services are only offered online, cross-border to target markets, and now also e-residents. So even though our license is from Finland, we can passport this license across the European Economic Area. And the beauty of this is that through the partnership with e-residency, we can truly actually serve global citizens because they all are e-residents to start with. A couple of words what our product does. So first of all, the core of the product is the bank account. We provide a digital business account for entrepreneurs and attach to that a MasterCard. But that's just the foundation of what we do. On top of that, we have built business management tools for entrepreneurs. So basically, entrepreneur can invoice their customers, they can do bookkeeping, they can do online sales, and everything is integrated to the account. So as in short, you could say that it's sort of a one-stop shop for your finances. From a business perspective, you can collect income through our invoicing or through our web shop. You can pay expenses, and then you can manage the expense side. So basically, the full cash flow management of a small business is what we are aiming to do. Not only banking, but actually own end-to-end the financial relationship of our customers. Yeah. I'm quickly going to speak about what e-residents actually need to get a Holvi account, because it's pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do a demo as I'm on my own here, but this is to showcase a little bit what you need. So when you become an e-resident, you get an e-resident ID card and an ID card reader attached that you can attach to your computer. So this is our systems are integrated with this. So basically, to verify your identity, we only need the ID card and then your passport to actually match this to the database. So color photo, passport, name page, and ID to verify your identity. And then we only need the business register extract from Estonia that confirms that your business is official in Estonia. That's it. Then the verification process, opening account takes a couple of minutes. Verification process takes depending on from 1 hour to maybe 1 day, depends a little bit what we have to do. But normally you are operational within the next business day and fully verified to run your business already. Yeah, that's kind of a quick look into e-residence and Holvi account opening. I will then in the panel perhaps discuss a little bit more about the background and how we did it. And of course, if you have questions about the e-residency and Holvi partnerships, I'm happy to answer now or after the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elina. Okay, and now when having current account opened in the bank, SME customers are demanding more and more faster payments, and here is the topic of real-time payments adoption is coming, which can change the way we transact and we conduct the business. And the benefits there are benefits for businesses and for financial institutions. And to talk more about that, I invite Jeffrey Edison, Oracle Financial Services. You're welcome.
So yes, very briefly, what I'll try to do is take you through real-time payments around the world, and then focus in a little bit more on Europe, obviously, to walk you through what's happening, what are some of the implications and opportunities for you. And I thought I had a nice introduction from Stefano from Boston Consulting in the sort of digital focus that customers are expecting, that we see around the world. We live in this hyper-connected world. I think, Stefano, that was a digital watch I saw on your wrist. Very connected, digital first. Wanting to be able to do our banking anytime, anywhere, access to our accounts 24/7, 365 days a year. It's what we're expecting. It's what SMEs expect. It's what they're going to be asking for. Digital-minded, the digital model that ING presented to us. So we're expecting this instant gratification, analytics, real-time analytics, business decisions, instant shopping, Amazon.com being the great example. When we see drones coming, delivering packages from Amazon, we can expect that this is the type of service that your customers are expecting this type of digital first, what was the 1 hour account opening process from ING. And this has become the new normal. Everything we do is real time. We're in a hyper-connected world. We need these business decisions that are made immediately. We can't wait for days for a decision. Account opening of 1 day is probably acceptable, but not many days that it often takes. And paperless, I think, also is very important. This is a real challenge for most banks. I was impressed by what ING said. Holvi is a very impressive example as well. Typical banks around the world, it's a huge challenge for them to move into this faster real-time processing. They're plagued by their legacy systems, inefficiency. Their customer service levels often aren't up to par with when we compare them to the sort of digital GAFAs, etc. Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. Also, banks are plagued with the regulations and changing regulations. We spoke a little bit yesterday about PSD2, the open banking push around the world. CEE17 is coming. I'll be talking about that especially, but also cross-border payments are changing. So banks have to stay up to date with the market demands, what's changing in the market, and it's very challenging. Customers have these expectations, and banks often aren't able to meet them. So around the world right now, we see a huge trend in real-time payments. Poland, it was a very early adopter, 2012 with the Elixir. The EU, in the EU, well, or just now outside of the EU soon, in the UK, 2008 with UK faster payments. But around the world, we see this drive for real-time payments, which mostly is being driven by regulatory push, but especially the regulators are focused on the consumers. What are consumers' expectations? And that's driving these regulations for faster servicing, real-time payments, instant payments. We see in Europe, obviously, what's the date? About 4 days ago, on the 21st of November, CEPA instant payments became a reality finally across the Eurozone, with transactions completed within 10 seconds. So that's account-to-account, bank-to-bank transaction in euros. That's instant or almost instant access to money. We were speaking yesterday about the needs of SMEs. I forget the name of the truck driver. Was it Marek, the truck driver who needed instant access to funds so that he could pay his tolls, he could pay petrol, etc. Being able to have access to your cash, being able to have instant access to payments is very important, obviously, when you're looking at the receivables that you have coming in. So as I said, globally, this is a very big push. I mentioned the UK 2008, Poland in 2012, but you'll see across the world this is happening. The US real-time payment, RTP, from the clearinghouse went into production on the 14th of November this year. So it's a big drive, and it's especially looking at an alternative to, we heard yesterday, checks are history in Poland and in much of Europe, but cash. Cash is still used. Cash usage in Poland is at 39% of GDP. It's a very high cash usage in this country. In Eastern Europe, it's at about 35%. In Western Europe, at about 15%. But cash is still used in a very large way. And instant payments offers a potential alternative to that cash usage or check usage. Initially, you might say, well, for an SME, 15,000 euros is a pretty good payment size. When we look at CEPA and CEPA instant payments that are coming on, that have just come online. If you look historically, though, in the UK, they started with a very low limit. I think it was £10,000 in 2008. It's since grown to be a limit of 250,000 sterling. And you'll notice that one of the big jumps in volumes in the UK was when corporates gained 24/7 access to the service. At the start, they didn't have that 24/7, but you can see this big jump and the progression of volumes in the UK. So we might expect the same thing in Europe. As CEPA Instant becomes more and more prevalent, and as the limit on the transaction size grows on the SEPA instant payment scheme, starting at 15,000 euros, but we can expect it'll grow up to close to 250,000 in the coming years. If I move a little bit farther away, then we historically look, recent past towards India and what's happened there. India has made a big push to go to a cashless digital society. In November 2016, the Prime Minister demonetized 86% of the currency that was in circulation was made valueless. The 100 and 500 rupee notes were paper. You could post them on the wall. You couldn't use them to spend. And that caused a huge push towards a cashless society in India. It was a big boon for mobile wallet producers or fintechs who gained the possibility to become payment banks. And it's a big push in India in financial inclusion. So it's a very important case study that I don't think that we'll see the same thing in Europe anytime soon, that we go towards a cashless society. But we're already seeing in countries in Scandinavia and, for example, in Switzerland, where compared to Eastern Europe at 35% cash usage of GDP, Switzerland is under 5% cash usage compared to their GDP. So what are the implications? Well, obviously, I talked already about 24/7, a big challenge for banks. But we're looking at customer experience, availability of funds, again, for the SME, very important, the availability of money. But there's this big burden on the banks, having to support 24/7, new standards, PSD2, open banking. So it's a big challenge for banks in this space. But what we see is going forward, this is a huge opportunity. The expectation is that by 2024, instant payments will take over as one of the most important online payment methods. So it'll go ahead of credit cards and debit cards for online transactions. So it should represent, the estimation is in 2027, almost 30% of transactions online in Europe. So there's this opportunity. Yes, it's a big challenge for banks, but it's also an opportunity in real-time payments. Also an opportunity for fintechs and value-added services around instant payments. So I've said it's a challenge for banks. One of the things that we see very often is that banks have put in place very inflexible systems. They've put in siloed systems, individual systems for different types of payments. Traditionally, they often started with domestic payments, maybe low-value domestic payments. High-value domestic payments was a different system. Cross-border payments, they put in a new system, built a new system, or bought a new system. And then SEPA came along and they bought a system for credit transfer, direct debit, etc. And ended up with these siloed systems that don't allow crosstalk, don't have the integration, so that the banks are missing the possibility of greater efficiency across the different processing lines and a single source of truth about their payments business, about operations, and about their customer. What are you doing? What transactions are going through the system? So with these siloed systems that they have, there's low integration, low efficiency rates at the banks. And again, missing a single customer view. What is your customer doing? What are the transactions that they're making? What information is flowing through the system? So these challenges that the banks have, that you have as banks, really it's a wake-up call, I think. It's a time that you need to act. You need to innovate or risk perishing. We see particularly the market cannibalization from non-banking players. We talk a lot about the GAFAs, the Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. But you also have to be concerned about retailers. Recently in the US, there's discussions about allowing retailers to get banking licenses as well. So you might have a Walmart bank, not just a Apple Pay or a Google Pay, but a Walmart bank coming up to try to cannibalize your market share. So losing revenue, and also looking at the real-time aspect. We focus a lot on real-time, but banks aren't prepared for real-time. They're not prepared for real-time analytics. They're not prepared yet for analyzing what's the customer doing. They have all this information flowing through their systems. They have all this data. It's a very rich data that's flowing through their systems, but as it's spread across disparate systems, they're often not able to take advantage of that. So if they could, obviously they could improve customer service. You can improve your customer service, customer experience, looking at what's the customer doing, where are their funds going, what are their needs, how to service the customers in a better way, and improving your fidelity, keeping customers close. We see ISO 20022, I'll get a little bit technical here, as a de facto standard in real-time payments, but also more and more in all types of payments, not just real-time, but real-time payments, ISO 20022, an XML standard, which is a very data-rich standard, which is interesting because it allows corporates, it allows you to put more information into the exchanges that you're making, into the payment exchange that you're making. It allows you to provide more information to the people that you're interacting with, receiving funds, requesting funds, sending data to your correspondent. From the bank's point of view, they can also make use of that information. They can analyze what are the payment flows, what's the information that's going through, that's embedded within this, as I say, data-rich standard of ISO 20022. So I will conclude my presentation to say this is an area that Oracle's been concentrating in for many years. I will try to avoid making you any sort of a sales pitch, say that from the start. But this is an area where there's a lot of opportunities for you. It's an area where you have the possibilities to expand what you're already doing. You can move forward into this real-time payments area, as I said, available now in the EU, across the EU in Euro with SEPA Instant, but also in other markets around the world, already available here in Poland for 5 years. But coming online more and more, and we see this growth around the world. If you look at the heat map of countries around the world, there's a real focus on real-time payments. As we can see, customers are demanding this type of service. So I'll close with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you. And now I invite to the stage Tomasz Les to present new and innovative solutions in internet banking for SME customers, which will help banking to be user-friendly for SMEs. You're welcome. Yes. Call the microphone, okay?
Good morning. Today, I want to share with you our view on internet banking system. My name is Tomasz Les. I'm a senior product manager in Asseco. I will share with you about our customer banking platform, is our product for corporate banking. On the beginning, a short reminder who we are. We are Asseco. We are a software developer leader. We act worldwide. We have highly skilled employees. In Poland, we are quite known. Our experience in the market is quite huge. We started 15 years ago. Our first corporate internet banking system was Intercom, because before changing the name, because we have Komrzeszów on the start. So Intercom is our first electronic banking system. Then then CEB, corporate e-banking system in 2002, and now in 2017 we launched Asseco customer banking platform. And we still work in Asseco customer banking products in different business lines. During the cooperation with our partners, which are banks having different offers for corporates, for companies, we focused on solution dedicated to entrepreneurs, which achieve the same goal, profit. Let's take a look on the trends, on the statistic in Poland, especially because it's the data from Poland, that SME customers in electronic banking platforms still growing. So the usage of electronic banking, usage on internet platforms in SME and SME group still growing. It's connected to experience with the private banking, with the retail banking, because the same users also used their own retail banking, electronic banking in the bank. Customer expectations still change, so banks should also change the offer to the bank. We need to adjust the existing solution to customers' needs. Nothing is so in knowing how, like an offer, which is not in the time, is not suitable for us. Customer expects the intuitiveness of the internet banking, like in the known experience from retail banking. High quality and individual approach is still the most important thing in the SME banking, and of course flexible and efficient cooperation with the bank. Asseco customer banking platform. This is the realization of the omni-channel strategy. It's omni-channel is the pillar of modern banking. All channels, all touch points, internet banking, tablet banking, mobile banking, branch banking, all channels cause that banking products based on values and emotions today. Our omnichannel strategy, we produced some few systems which are connected, which are work together. Asseco customer banking platform for retail and corporate customers. Asseco onboarding banking platform is for acquisition for customers from the public portals, and Asseco advisory banking platform is a complete solution for different channels from the bank perspective. It costs long-term relationship with the bank. And going through the customer banking platform for corporates, our view is to have one platform, one experience, and on different devices, because this in Poland is a rather often situation that customers have the problem to switch between devices, because the experience of usage, PC banking and mobile banking is different. People don't want to learn different experience on different devices. They want to have very intuitive systems, and the best way is when the system works on the same experience on different devices. The Apple is iPhone and iPad has the same system, has the same operating system, and work the same. So people don't want to learn how it works. Our concept is the same, that we have the same experience, the same like an operating system on all devices, but the functionality of business functionality is closed in the some small part of the system. We called it mini applications, mini apps. When the part of functionality of the system works inside, and customer can change, the mini application with some part of business around the system, like in mobile phone experience. When people want to change, for example, calculator or calendar, they go to the App Store or the Google Play and change this, because even when they work on the same business functionality, the same but different experience, different suitable for my expectations. So our system works the same. The business functionality is split to the part of the part of the system. We called it mini applications. Key features: innovative approach to deliver business functionality and boutique inside. This is like in the mobile phone app store, Google Play. This is the place when customer can take the other functionality of a corporate electronic banking system. A wide range of products, because we have many applications, customer can choose the suitable applications for them. Easy of the testing and new functionality is that our platform is developed to not switching off the customers when we wanted to add new functionality to the system. This is a very good solution for bank, which when bank want to add new functionality in the shorter way. And of course, highest security standard. In details, the main point is the dashboard with the mini applications, and of course, like in the mobile experience, customer can use application, can run the applications using shortcuts on the dashboard or using the widget of the applications, because this is known from the mobile, from the tablets experience for the customer, that when I want, for example, have the information about the weather on my mobile phone, I take the applications with the weather and put the widget of the weather application on the dashboard to see some information without going into the applications. The concept is the same in our solution. So the main information we can build with the widget of application and put on the dashboard to see the most important information for corporate customer perspective. The other advantage of this from this concept is that the user can personalize the desktop, but what is important in this group of customers, SMEs, that we have the role in the company. The role is require different functionalities. For management, we need some different information connected with different access rights. So we have different mini applications. We can create different dashboard for management of the board. We can we can create new and different dashboard for accounting, for administrators of the company. Also, we can adapt and create dashboard for different sectors. Telecommunications require different functionality. The energy and fuel sector require different, media, commerce, automotive, etc. From the bank perspective, in the one platform, we can construct many business lines, and we can connect the functionality with different dashboard to different sectors. Products adapted to different company needs. So we have the SME offer with traditional transaction banking, overdraft, trade finance. For mid-corporate offer, we have loans, a fixed platform. All functionality is closed in the mini applications, connected with a omni-channel module, which covers this business functionality on the back end. And quick view, how could it looks like on the particular mini applications. For example, this is the pulpit from transfer management. So we have the most important information closing the widget for accounting department. For example, we see the rejected transactions. For example, what number of transactions waiting. The calendar is the sorry. Okay. package of transfers, another widget of applications when we closed all important information about the packages of transfers. And from the administrator perspective, they wanted to know another part of information, different business functionality than transfers management. So we can see the notifications with the failure logins, for example, active users, blocked users, etc. Of course, from the user perspective, we can add new mini application to the dashboard. We can look at the boutique of the mini applications from the company perspective and see only these applications we are connected with my role in the organization. Calendar with the events, we can see from the administrator perspective different type of events. So the same mini applications could work in the different roles and looks different and have different events or different information. Event report, this is important functionality for the company administrator. And summary, we think that this is a new era of electronic banking. Bank require functionality to have the one platform across all functionality. This is the possibility to cross-sell banking products because we can have the mini applications called banner, called offers, when we can offer new products for our customers. It's new streams and services for small, medium enterprises. We can give the functionality connected with the accounting, for example. And of course, time to market implementation, because we can deploy new applications without switching off the systems and without logging off all the customers. Like in the App Store, we add new functionality to App Store, to the boutique in our solution, but customers could still work on different existing in the system applications. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thanks. And now we have time for questions and we have time for a panel, and I invite our speakers here to the stage. Please, Elina, Jeffrey, Izabela. Yes, and the one microphone for you. And the first question will be for Izabela. So how actually did you manage to do this in your bank, this online digital process for companies, as it is still not common in the banks to have such in the whole region? And how long did it take you?
Well, as we said before, we decided to treat companies like individuals and expand the user experience from a retail point of view to SME point of view, if I may say so. And first, we've built inside our ING business internal banking system the model for electronic sign of documents. So we can sign any kind of documents, including credit agreements. So all credit agreements can be signed electronically by our clients on behalf of a client, and on the other hand, on behalf of a bank. And later on, we thought, why not use this model for new clients, for new SME businesses? It's ready, it's operable, so we can use it as well for just for new clients.
Okay, thanks. It's really cool. And my next question to Elina. So I have read that the Estonia's target to have 10 million residents in 7 years. So do you know how many is already registered and actually how many is using Holvi's account already?
I think until last month or so, there's around 27,000 e-residents. So of course 10 million is a very, very bold goal to get to. But e-residency is actually turning 3 years now. So I think we will see a bigger growth coming from there. So around 27,000 e-residents, out of those have registered, 5,000 have registered a company. And at the moment we have around 25% of all the e-residents who have a business in Holvi. So still, this is a fairly new partnerships. The figures are still quite small, but we see a lot of good potential, and this is very strongly growing channel for us for customer acquisition. So it's going well.
Okay, and there are also, if I'm not mistaken, 2 banks as well offering current account openings for e-residents, Swedbank and LHV, Estonian bank. And how Holvi is different?
These banks still require a visit to Estonia to open it. So it's really not an e-resident friendly option that you have to travel from Bangladesh to go to Estonia to open the account. So this is the biggest difference. And then of course Holvi is not only a bank account, as I explained briefly, so it's also about the other other features on top of it. So our customers, also the residents, can use the online shop, and they can start selling online, and they have ready-made contracts with Visa, MasterCard, many local bank buttons, and American Express, for example. So it's also a turnkey solution in that sense, that they can start doing sales, and then it's automatically reconciled to their bank account. So these are the ones. But of course, the biggest pain point is that with other providers, they still have to physically go to Estonia, which is of course a no-go in the world of e-residency.
Okay, and what are the costs for current account servicing in Holvi and then in ING?
In Holvi, in general, we have two models. Basically, we are subscription-based banking. So normally our fee is €8 per month, which includes the account, the card, invoicing, bookkeeping, and everything. For e-residents, we have a larger package, which is €35. This is due to the reason that this is a new territory for us. Everything that happens in the background through verification, fraud prevention and things like this are something that we are learning, so there's more expenses for us. So the cost for e-residents is higher than for our other customers that would register through Germany, Austria or Finland.
Okay.
But €8 is the standard for us, including everything. Or then we have a transaction model as when the account is for free, and then you just don't get a card, but you get the account and you get transactions with 50 cents.
Okay. And what about pricing in ING Poland?
So pricing for ING business, ING Bank is around 19 zloty, which is less than €5 per month, just for using the account, the current account, saving account, and all of the functionalities of ING business and online banking system.
Okay, thanks. And turning to real-time payments, how actually the adoption of real-time payments will influence the cost of transactions?
That's a very good question. I don't want to make a guess right now. My assumption is that as we see it becoming more and more, right now there were basically 20 banks who were ready 5 days ago. Yeah, 600 payment service providers, but a lot of small Raiffeisen, Kassa and Raiffeisen banks in Germany. But as we see it become more and more prevalent around Europe, I think the prices will go towards the level that we see for, say, credit transfer, which is basically free as part of your account package. I don't know what the banks say to that, but that would be my expectation. I mean, there's still costs in other countries, but we see that the real time is becoming an expectation, and so the expectation is that banking is almost free. That it's part of the package that I can do fast payments as well as, let's say, slower traditional payments.
And could you describe here once again, maybe in some short, what are the main steps or roadmap to implement and to adopt real-time payments for the banks?
For the banks, yeah. Well, I'll even maybe start back at the SMEs. I mean, that's where, for this audience anyway, that's where the interest might be. Is you know, first you need to have your corporates integrated in an efficient way. Particularly looking at, you know, file uploads is probably fine when you're making credit transfers, but on real-time payments that's not very efficient. not very fast. And then it's the connectivity, needing to be connected into the networks that you need to do real-time payments, whatever your real-time payment is. But I think one of the biggest challenges that the banks have is that a lot of their systems just don't support instantaneous transactions on accounts and aren't available 24/7. Many banks still have end-of-day processes that are running in the middle of the night that basically close down the accounting systems for some hours often in the middle of the night. I see this a lot with banks I'm discussing with now who just don't know how they're going to do real-time payments. They don't have a system that's capable for them to do real-time payments. So they're looking at putting in basically a layer to handle the real-time aspect on top of their traditional platforms that can't handle it. They're sort of 1960s systems that don't handle real-time. They can't be fast enough and can't operate 24/7.
And what the average time needed for that is your prediction?
Time for the banks?
Yeah.
Several years. No, I think to do that sort of transformation, it's challenging to do it in sort of less than 6 months. So a lot of the banks who've just started here in Europe, they started several years ago looking at what they would do, made decisions and put in place projects so that some of them made it by the November 2017 timeline. Some of them didn't. There were 30 banks who were originally in the founding investment group at EBA for instant payments, and only about 20 of them were ready in November, even though they knew ahead of time what the deadline was. There were only 20 who were actually ready. So it's a challenge, even when you know what the time frames are, even when you've set your goals, it's very challenging to meet those goals.
Yeah, okay. Okay, do we have questions from the audience? Please, your questions, yes. Just a second.
My name is Marta Mruz-Sipiora. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfect, thank you. My name is Marta Mruz-Sipiora from Asseco Poland. I have a question to lady from ING Bank Slaski, because we wonder about the customer opinion about the internet banking from SME. We have experience, but we wonder what is the most important thing for the SME customers using the internet banking from the banks?
Well, I think the most important is to use it whenever and wherever they want, and just to have everything in one system. Not to log into several systems to do one thing, for example, transaction in one system and signing agreement or having new products in another system, but to have one system with everything inside, and that's I think the most important for the clients, as well as on one hand it should be flexible and user-friendly, but on the second hand, it should be also flexible and to give them opportunity to have different the ability to use it by different users, like representative, but also accounting services and so on. So several, for example, services should be limited, for example, for accounting services. They shouldn't see probably everything. They shouldn't be able to sign the agreement on behalf of a client, but they should have full access to the accounts.
Okay. Such an authorization method, for example.
As well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Bartek Bartosiewicz. I hope you don't mind if I join my colleague. The question is, I understood from your presentation that wet signature is not required in case opening a current account. Is that true? And
yes.
Please forgive me my lack of legal knowledge in this case, but as far as I know, as we've been on the road for 25 years now as Asseco, and we've kept listening to our customers, we still hear that the wet signature is at the end required to open the current account effectively?
Well, as you could see in our presentation, well, it's not required. We use just normal authentication to our internet banking system, and we use this model for several years, like 3 or probably 3 years, to sign the document on behalf of a client electronically within the system.
So you use other banks, so the customer had to open the account with another bank with his or her wet signature, and then the other bank is the trustworthy for you. There's a other bank, or because if there is a newcomer, a person, a company without a bank account at all,
yeah.
and he or she comes to the bank for the first time, and no wet signature is required. Is that really true?
Well, of course, there's a law procedures in our country, and we need to have personal identification of the representative.
That's what I meant, yeah.
This is what you meant. Okay, so there are few options for that. As an ING Bank, we are a rather big bank, so we have more than 4 million retail clients. So if the representative is already existing retail client, we know how to verify him or her electronically. But if we have a totally new client that we have no relationship with the representative, we are obliged as a bank to have a personal identification of the person. Yes.
Thank you very much.
So right now we can ask the client to go to any branch of our bank just to present his or her ID. And we can also send a courier to this person just to have the same personal identification, just to see the ID and come back to us with all those details. And we are also working on electronic identification of the person using, for example, video verification, and in the future using also EID methods.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. As in Asseco we have all these new, very powerful, interesting features sitting on the shelf, waiting for new legislation that will allow us to use our onboarding portal without physical presence in the branch. So now we're looking forward and waiting for the new opportunities. The solutions are there, just waiting for new legal opportunities. Thank you very much.
That's exactly the same thing we are waiting for.
And we had one question right there.
Hi, Maciek Dąbrowski from PwC. I have actually 3 questions, one for each. First one for Iza from ING. How the process look like if we have like a startup with 4 representatives, the limited liability company, for example. For the Elina, if you can open the account with the residency on the mobile phone. And from Jeffrey, I would like to ask if the technology is enough to move from the cash processes to instant real-time payments. Because as you said, in Poland, we use quite often real-time payments. We are leader in contactless payments. And is technology enough to move from the cash payments into contactless digital payments?
Okay, let's start from Izabela.
Okay, so I'll start. First of all, our process is, of course, the online process and real-time process is limited for entities registered in Poland. So the client needs to be registered in our Polish KRS. And if the company has more than one representative, 2, 3 or more, it's just they just need to sign the detailed information about each representative during going through the application, and each of the representative will have access to ING Business, and the agreement will be waiting to be signed by each of them electronically. So we can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Elina, please.
Actually, at the moment we have our new app in revision at App Store. So I could say that hopefully in a couple of hours, I can tell that yes, e-residents can do that. But at the moment, how it goes is that they can open until the account on mobile, but KYC and KYB they do on desktop at the moment. But I hope, like in the next days when we announce it, then it's possible. But basically, how the new mobile app will work is very similar to our other customers, so they can go all the way from opening the account, providing the documents, and then they verify the identity through video KYC. So we, in Holvi's case, for opening a current account, we don't need physical signatures, we don't have branches, and we have no, there is no way for you to provide anything in a physical format. So everything happens digitally, and soon on mobile as well for e-residents.
Mm-hmm. Jeffrey?
Yeah, I think I agree with you that that technology isn't enough. I spoke with the Bank of England a couple of weeks ago, and they told the story that I really liked, actually, that was about contactless and the lack of growth of contactless payments in the UK, which was pretty much flat for about 7 years, until, and this is a kind of a strange situation, but until Transport of London allowed you to tap in with your contactless card at the Underground. And you think, okay, that's not very important. But suddenly people realized that they didn't need to have a separate card to tap in and out of the Underground. So the millions of people living in London taking the tube, they could just tap in with the same card that they use for anything else. And now if you go to London, if you go out to a pub, if you actually take cash out of your pocket to pay for a round of drinks, the people behind the bar are disgusted with you because they've brought you the machine to tap in and out. That's what everybody does now, is they're tapping, tap and go. And that, in the UK anyway, has been a big push, is contactless on public transportation. And interestingly, the same thing has now been announced in New York and Boston, contactless payments on New York and Boston public transportation. So we might see a decrease in cash usage in the US going forward. Obviously, you know, the US isn't only New York City and Boston, but as it spreads around the country, you might see a reduce of cash usage. Checks, I don't know how many years that will take to disappear in the US. But again, I think it's often external forces, demonetization in India, that has pushed India toward a cashless society. So technology isn't generally enough, no, unfortunately. Or fortunately, perhaps.
Okay, thank you very much for interesting presentations and this discussion. Thank you for the questions.